It is your boy, the Mulatto Ronin, back on at it again with another banger and fire video for y'all's out there today. They're y'all. Guys, I gotta preach again to my fellow golden race people, my MGMs, first generation mulattoes, biracials out there, everybody in this space. I gotta really talk to y'all on this particular topic. But guys, we have so much in common with the South Africans, more specifically the coloreds, which is basically, the mixed Afro people. Yeah, so these are like all the biracials, the MGMs, basically same thing like over here in America, but the only difference is they're actually on the census and yeah, they know who they are. Compared to here in America where there's a lot of confusion and yeah, like it's a mess over here. It's a free for all. But we can really learn a lot from a lot of South Africans and just the coloreds over there, like their community, you know. And there is good, there's bad, but over there, man, South Africa, yes, South Africa can be very violent depending on where it's at, like just where you go. But at the same time, they got some strong communities over there, like very strong. And that is so important, man. Like they got their own sections and areas where it's just them, like a colored community. And man, we can really learn something from that. If we're able to get like some land and really have it, really for us. Because listen, guys, in America, there like it's plenty of white people building a white only like community, and they're putting their money together and they're, getting their own property and land and everything in America. Like that could be something we can consider in the future. But I really like the way how South Africans, especially the Afrikaans, which is basically a mixture of I think they're a mix of Russian and I think wait, it was German. I think it was German and Dutch, or yeah, like if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like to everybody in South Africa, let me know that I get that right. But yeah, but how basically how the Afrikaans move. And I remember I shared a video a while back talking about there is a city, I mean not a city, there's like a small town full of like the Afrikaans, and it's basically like a white only, small town. But the media painted it just like this big racist place. But guess what? A black African went over there. I shared that video and there was no issues. He went over there, he had like such a good time with the white people over there. And then on top of that, like anybody can pull up there. And heck, they even told him, listen, man, like, hey, if you want to put in an application and everything, hey, we can try to maybe get you in. Like they cool like that. But basically, what we can learn from this is just like as people, as mixed Afro people, the golden race people, if we want to get some type of, safety net for us, if we ever get fully like established and stuff like that, and we have our own little communities, something like that, where like regardless of where it's at in America, that would be pretty awesome. And then in terms of having people coming in, we can I really like what the Afrikaans are doing over there. Because it's still open for everybody. It's not like, oh no, we're not gonna let everybody and all this and that. Nah, basically the way the Afrikaans got it set up over there in South Africa, they're just in control of how things work, how things operate, and making sure that everything is safe and there's opportunity for people that look like them. So they're not relying off of just the normal systems. And we can actually learn a lot from that. Like ironically, because over here in America, we're a minority within a minority, and the Afrikaans over there, they're a minority within a minority as well, because white people, yeah, they're very, very, very small majority of people in South Africa, but they actually hold a good amount of power. And, like us golden race people here in America, we can learn something from that. But I do like how they go about it, like it, especially once I looked more into the whole situation when I was looking at their, like the whole white only town and everything. It sounds crazy. It sounds a little like oh man, hopefully I don't stumble across, there by accident, but no, they was very, very cool. Like the white South Africans was like really cool. Like when it came down to just other groups of people, stopping by and communicating, it was nothing racist whatsoever. It's just mainly just having your own lane and being able to, just have a safety net for your people. And I think that's completely okay. Like I never seen an issue with white people wanting to have their own little town and everything. Like I don't see no issue with that. But at the same time, as long as you like not, if somebody happened to stumble across your area, by mistake or whatever, as long as you're cool with it, which, a lot of people's gonna be pretty chill for the most part. But it does depend on where you go. Hey, some people, some places you just don't go as a melanated person in America. But at the end of the day, man, it's not a bad idea. And, I'm not like on some segregation type of shit, but, it's just like think of black owned businesses. That's basically how I look at when it comes down to community, regarding us mulatto golden race people out here. Us having a little bit of stake in terms of, somewhere in the US or just a part of the world. And South Africa really isn't a bad spot either for us, because we can integrate so easily. Sure, we may have to pick up a few languages. Like, I know if you're colored, most likely you're gonna have to learn how to speak Afrikaans. You're gonna have to learn how to speak Zulu a little bit, and Ashua, Ashua. I forget how to say that name. But yeah, you may have to learn that. But it's crazy with South Africa because they got like 10 official languages. You can still get by with English. English is very, very well spoken. But yeah, they got a lot of different languages over there. But yeah, I just find that, just really fascinating, how they operate, because in America, there is no structure. Yes, South Africa has its problems, and it can be pretty rough in certain areas, certain parts, and they do have gun violence. But at least they do got the sense of community, and, they work together at the end of the day. And we're starting to see that more and more, thank God for the internet, because unfortunately in America, it's just very kind of like pretty much every man for himself when you walk outside. The whole community base is really just pretty dead. But yeah, like I'm not against these things, just as long as you're not hateful or spiteful with it. If other groups of people happen to stop by or whatever, like, hey, we welcome them with open arms. Like we just basically want to have a safe space for us, like, just like for all group of people. But hey, you're welcome to come by. You're welcome to stay for a little bit if you're a monoracial, whatever the case may be. Or if you're like a really awesome person, hey, you want to be in our community? Yeah, like we'll go through a process and do something like that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. As long as you go about it the right way, I think it's nothing wrong with that. I feel like you're going to have some safety nets for your people. And hey, like with this economy and everything going on, relying off of this normal system, it's like you really do need community. But that's really all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys think. Can us golden race people in America, us MGMs, mulattoes, all of us out here, can we learn something from the coloreds and the Afrikaans over there in South Africa? But y'all let me know what y'all think. It is your boy, the Mulatto Ronin. Like and subscribe, share. Y'all take it easy.